friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, and especially advanced field command and tactics. And we continue on with our Archer versus Skirmisher series. If this is the first episode you've seen, I'll just explain it in 30 seconds. We have this army of about 12 companions. Most of them are elite, level 30, 35, even 45, right? Very high level, very powerful companions. And we have a very strong army in our main army group that this character Zuvan is leading. It's kind of a mix of different units. It's an even mix of infantry, cavalry, and archers. Now, what makes this episode sort of interesting is that we're going to fight the same battle in two different ways. In one of them, we will have all archers, including our companions will wield bows and crossbows. And in the other episode, we will use this army complete with all skirmishers, right? There's no archers in this army. So how we're doing that is we're simply disbanding one of these armies before each battle, right? If we're doing the Javelin series this time, we're going to tell Litka Willowbark, we don't need you for this episode, even though obviously she would help us win a battle. We're going to put her on the bench. Now, right before I started this episode and made a save game, there was a large Valandian force up here, so hopefully I can track them down. Some of these smaller armies might engage as well, which is fine. This is definitely the most audacious attempt so far in this series. Actually, no, this is insane. Look at the strength of this army. This Valandian force has 258 sharpshooters, 103 vanguards. Actually, their whole army is stacked. 42 Battanian Fiendchamps, 57 Battanian Fiendchamps, 42 Fiends rather. Banner Knights, 61. This is an absolutely stacked Valandian army. So this is one of those situations we probably can't win. And so the final score sort of between these two different armies, in other words, which is better, an army that has more archers or has more skirmishers, will be not in the measure of victory here, but how close to defeating this force we can get. Because I hate to ruin your suspense, but 380 against an elite force of 2,000 is probably not a thing. So the Valandians are a long ways away. And tactically, these two episodes are going to differ considerably. And I say two episodes, I'm going to just splice these together, these two different battles. We have this army full of skirmishers and very few archers against an enormously powerful Valandian force that has more archers than we have total troops. In fact, I think twice as many archers as we have total troops for this battle. It seemed like they had 800 archers, or crossbow, right? Crossbow and archers between Fiendchamps and whatnot. Oh, and there's one more thing I forgot to mention. I have the Battlesize mod loaded for this episode. That means that fully 2,000 units will be on the battlefield at the same time. Normally in vanilla Bannerlord, you are limited to 1,000. With this mod, you can get all the way up to 2,000, although it does count every horse as a unit. So if they have 1,000 cavalry, that would be the only thing that could be on the battlefield. Alright, so I obviously have tons of infantry to deal with here, and it says 75 archers, but I'm not even sure I have 75 archers. I might have 60 archers. I do have a couple cav lines. Of course, the cav lines are heavy javelin cav, right? We have lots of javelins in this army, and we're going to have to make massive use of them, right? We will have to conserve ammo, and obviously we're going to have to try to come to blows with the enemy, despite the fact that they have this massive amount of archers. Now, the problem with that, of course, is they have tons of sharpshooters. In fact, they almost have as many sharpshooters as our whole army. And as most people know, sharpshooters are outstanding units in Bannerlord, right? They are consistently able to go toe-to-toe with tier 4 units, in hand-to-hand. And of course, their crossbows are deadly at range. All right, so I've got a shock division, the 3rd. I'm going to plan on using these guys behind heavy cav, right? We will have, it's a shield and shock approach. You basically put a line of heavy horse in front of those guys, and then, let's see, I prefer to give them a commander that increases damage to mounted troops. Perfect. Increases damage to mounted troops. We got Varag here. The rest of these guys I think we can just drop into Zuvan's army. Zuvan is in charge of the 6th. And of course, he's a total badass with incredible stats. So all of those troops benefit from Zuvan, my main character. So the 4th Corps will be a crossbow division here, but I don't really even have that many crossbow to make a strong crossbow division. Now I want to look closely at my infantry because you don't want shock troops on the front line with no shield. That looks pretty good. Sometimes when you make a thin line like that, what'll happen is you will have guys up there with polearms, and that's not effective. In a shield wall, polearm guys are basically just asking, I would like to be killed immediately. Now the 2nd and 3rd Corps here. So I've got these 2 cav divisions. One of them's really big. The other, the 8th Corps, I will probably be leading with them, right? We're going to do a little shield and shock. They will help us absorb a lot of these crossbow bolts. It says horse archers, but that's just because for some reason or other it insisted I had some horse archers. As you can see when you look down there at the 8th Corps, it's only cavalry. All right, let's see what we can do here against this massive force. Let's see how many of them there are here. Jesus. It's hard to tell because all their units are jumbled up together. And I am going to be using the RTS mod, by the way. That's why it's moving fast. It looks like 512 crossbow. I could be wrong. But they have basically lots of everything. They even have some horse archers. They have 2 separate wings of cav of 180 each, which is obviously, that's also about the size of our army. That said, obviously with this army, we fear no cavalry, right? We've got lots of our own cavalry to counter it, and our javelin guys will absolutely smoke archers. Our 3rd Corps here is going to eat cav for breakfast. Those are the shield, those are the shock troops just waiting to get their hands on a cavalryman. The 4th Corps is out in front there. Those are crossbow, mostly because I want to sort of expel their bolts, get some front-loaded damage from that unit, and then eventually they will turn into a distractionary square or a shield wall to charge the enemy. Now these horse archers, I swear, are running from just me. There's no other threat, and they are beating feet as fast as they can out of here. I noticed this is a factor when I switch back and forth between archers and javelins. I just suck. That's all there is to it. It's very hard going back and forth. It is what it is, though. That's how these episodes are being played, right? I'm playing out one battle, and then 10 minutes later, I come back with the 2nd battle. Now, obviously, we have advantages to that, right? We have some idea what the enemy has for forces, and of course, we know the battlefield. Okay. Enemies slowly making their way in here. And we have virtually no ability to joust with this enemy at range. I mean, think about it, right? They have 500 crossbow. I think it said 500, which is, it seems insane. But again, with the Battlesize mod, that actually is quite reasonable. This army had a crossbow-heavy army. The main Vlandian force had something like 800 crossbow. It seemed like that was the number I saw. And we have 40, right? This is not quite a fair fight, especially at range. We do have elevation. That'll help a little bit. And at some point or other, hopefully we can get some javelins thrown into their faces beyond me running around on a horse dumping these guys off. Now I want their cav to charge. I'm sort of baiting these guys because I'm going to charge with the 3rd Division, right? I have this 3rd Division of shock troop guys. As soon as they come in like this, oh shit, that horse went flying. It's like on top of the tree. You see some javelins flying in here, we're going to hold fire, right? I just have no choice but to sort of micromanage these guys. Love it when they go flying through the air like that. It looks like they're still trying to ride the horse like 10 feet in the air.
Cavalry, fire!
Now this cav is capable of firing javelins, but the enemy horsemen are being very cagey here. I don't know if it's because they know we have javelins, or it's just the AI acting unusually, but they are being both very passive and very cagey. As soon as I open fire, they pull back, and I don't know if that's the AI cheating, saying, oh, they open fire, we'll pull back, or if that's just the cycle they're on, right? It's almost like they're trying to bait us into an attack, even though these insolent fucks attacked us. Come and attack us, you stupid bitches. You're the ones that fucking engaged. And part of the problem here, too, is if you've never experienced it before, it's a joy, I can tell you, and I'm being very sarcastic. crossbow and Bannerlord tend to be extremely conservative, extremely cautious. They will shoot at you at 900 range, right? They have more range than archers, and they won't attack. They will just simply sit there and plink, plink, plink. There's horses flying all over the place. They will plink you with crossbow bolts, waste your fucking time, and it really is not effective either. All they're really doing is wasting the amount of days and hours you have on Earth, and I guess we could blame or thank Tailwolves for that. Alright, so this Cav division does want some. I just got, holy shit, he stabbed me right in the neck. There goes a third of my health. But at least they're starting to get aggressive here. This dumb bitch Noble eats shit. I don't like the flow of this at all, right? I've got a very, oh shit. I just drilled a boar champion right in the back, killed that guy. Well, we'll see if it's good luck, Argyle. I don't have high hopes for this battle. So far, though, of course, the death spam is highly green because they're the ones attacking us. It's mostly cavalry being blown up by javelin throwers. Just like that, right? You could just get a front fucking row seat of that shit. Just these cavalry are skewered by a defensive cavalry line like that with javelins behind. I mean, this is, maybe it's why they're being so hesitant, right? I don't think the AI is designed that well, but it really does seem like the AI understands that if they charge this, they're dead men. And that's happened now in 2 consecutive waves. We might be forced here to try to envelop this enemy force, you know, and it's trying to envelop this is, it's just not really a thing, right? We're outnumbered 5 to 6 to 1. You can't really outnumber guys and try to envelop them. I mean, you can, but your lines are so thin, you know, it's going to break down pretty quickly and probably fail spectacularly. Still, we'll see what we can do here. I do have a little bit of an angle. There's a little bit of a ridge here that they can't see, so we might be able to sort of push in troops and get them close to the enemy before they really do major damage. You see that ridge I just rode over kind of bifurcates the battle. It makes for 2 different sides of the battle. So I have a handful of archers that can support us here. God damn, this battlefield, man, the horses just fly all over the place. It's got to be some kind of physics thing. Again, their cav is in here charging and getting bottled up, so we want to charge them with infantry whenever we can take advantage of this, right? There's a huge wave of death spam. I have the 6th following me, and they have one job here, and that's to open fire javelins when the moment is right. Trying to conserve ammo on some of these units, right? Because obviously this battle might be another 15-20 minutes, and if we expel our javelins in the first 30 seconds, we lose all advantages of skirmishers. So we're pounding their cav here, but we're definitely taking significant losses, although suddenly there is a big wave of green. That might be our shock troops arriving. Over on this flank, we're just going to start slowly moving units in. I've got the 1st, 4th, and 3rd, and those basic divisions. That's infantry, that's a shock troop line, and it's a crossbow line. But that crossbow line is probably out of bolts. Yeah, they are. Well, it says they have bolts, but most of those guys are probably out of bolts. So I may start to be able to envelop the enemy from this side over here. You can probably see what I'm doing. On our right flank, the enemy's left flank, we're trying to sneak troops up so that we can fucking start to swarm them, get a good charge in on their crossbow are absolutely firing at us at point blank range, but we got elite troops holding up shields. And so for the time being, no death spam, right? It's just the enemy being skewered. This is what I was worried about. The enemy continues to be cagey. They're outnumbering us 4 or 5 to 1 here, and they are reforming. I'm dragging a cav line through here, and they're frankly they're doing the best thing here. Considering they have that infantry line holding us from attacking, the best thing for them to do is pull those archers back, and that's what they're doing here. 724 archers, that says. Jesus. Now, it says archers, but you know a lot of them are cavalry, or excuse me, a lot of them are crossbow. So let's try to get these skirmishers behind their infantry division. If we can destroy this infantry division, then we'll have these archers much more to ourself, right? Without a lot of support. So I stuck one skirmisher division actually facing the other way of the enemy. But that's because I want them throwing javelins towards the main infantry force. and then I stuck a cav wall between that standing backwards infantry division of skirmishers. Oh shit, no, I guess it didn't. I must have got him, their arrow a little clipped off. They're not quite where I want to be, but still, now we have these infantrymen coming down, the 1st, 4th, and 3rd coming down the hill, and behind the enemy we have the 7th Corps collapsing in on them, right? So this infantry, enemy infantry here, there's a few cavalry. These guys are all dead men, right? They were swallowed up. They got enveloped. And I don't see massive death from behind us here, right? Their cav is sort of trotting up slowly. We can get a cav shield wall out front there, and we're going to finish off this infantry, right? We're basically trying to fight this army in detail. We decimated their cav in the first 7-8 minutes of battle. Now we're going for their infantry. And we're more than going for it, right? We just annihilated their infantry. Now that's just the first wave, right? This enemy has 2,000 plus troops, so they will have more infantry. Our cav shield wall line there is doing a beautiful job of preventing bolts and whatnot coming through and smoking us. And so far, so good, right? Still, we're also getting low on javelins. That is the problem. The enemy's reforming again. They have like a pitiful little broken up infantry line here charging our cav. We like that. Your enemy's making mistakes, don't interrupt them. Guy looked like one of theirs. Does that really say 984? It does. They have 1,000 crossbow on the field right now. That's insane. And that only happens with the battle mod, obviously. You can't have that happen in vanilla Bannerlord. That would never happen. They have 1,000 crossbow here. Now they're charging with infantry kind of broken up here, so we're going to attack this, right? Again, we're not going to interrupt their mistakes. They want to send these guys to their slaughter. We are happy to comply. This guy took 100 damage and didn't die. Undoubtedly, they have some good lords, too, for their infantry. Now we're getting to a perilous situation. You see the ridge there? The enemy crossbow is right on the other side of that, and I'm not sure we're close enough to be able to charge into their ranks. We don't have much speed, right? We have a total, literally a total of 12. Look at this guy coming in with the couch lance. We have a total of 12 archers, or excuse me, 12 cavalry, these brave guys here on their horse. That's all we have. It's the 2nd and 3rd division. So we're sort of forced to lead over here with shield walls. And are they right over the ridge? Let's put a shield. Shit. Get the 6th here. I don't know if those guys are going to be able even to throw javelins. Can lead with cav shield wall here. Oh boy, they're getting massacred. Get out of there. Get in the square. Get over this ridge. The commander fucked up. God, they're getting massacred. That's what happens when 1,000 archers shoot at you. I mean, we are just getting scorched on the way out. Fuck. Well, that's going to prevent us from flanking, right? They have a huge amount of heavy cavalry over there. We have no heavy cavalry, and our main fucking infantry division just took a beating. Still, let's try the old frontal attack here. We've got 4 units coming down now in shield wall. As long as we can get to their troops pretty quickly, right? I can send some cav in here. That'll help a little bit. But without the maneuverability of the cav, without the archers here, this is the biggest weakness of the infantry, right? As you're closing to a strong enemy like this, you get pounded. It's federal pound me in the prison, in the what is it, the office space? Federal pound me in the ass prison, right? That's what's going on here. Now, our javelins have started to go, and so the enemy's starting to die en masse, but now they're charging. This is a massive infantry wave. Behind it is an enormous, like, insane crossbow division. I have some guys still throwing javelins, so I'm going to let these guys work for just a minute. Plus, the enemy's attacking us with heavy cav. We need to try to disable these guys. We don't need heavy cav up our ass at the same time as the enemy's shooting us with crossbow. I'm getting fucking totally swarmed here. I've got this 1st division following me in a square, mostly for protection at this stage. Although we can start to move them in. It's 1,000 fucking javelin, or 1,000 crossbow. 979. Well, at least we're face to face with them here. We're going to charge. This may not well, this will not end well against that many crossbow. Still, we're going to try to inflict as many deaths as we can. I said at the beginning of this battle, this is probably an impossible battle. There are some battles, I don't give a fuck what tactics you do. It just can't be, you can't win it. And against such an elite force, I see Battanian Fiendchamps back there. I see fucking all sharpshooters and hardened crossbow. And the death spam is not going well for us. Shit. We're down to the last like 20 guys here as we get zerged by 800 fucking crossbow. And now I'm just trying to rack up kills here before I get stabbed in the back. This guy's completely fucking surrounded. So that we can get a tally here, right? We can get a tally of how many guys we killed. If I had to guess, I would say we killed between half and 60% of their forces. And partly I'm doing that by that little red bar up top. But that is a fuckload of crossbow. It just looks like ants pouring out of an ant hive, just fizzing all over the fucking place. And let's see how we did here. We killed 1,058. So we killed just over half of their force with all skirmishers here, which, considering the Battlesize mod, this actually is not a disastrous performance, right? I mean, anytime you kill 3 times as many troops as you have, you feel kind of good about it, especially when it's an elite army like this. But ultimately, this is failure, and we will give this a shot with archers and see if we can outperform this. So 1,058 kills, that'll be the benchmark for the second episode. A little bit of quick editing here. I'll splice these 2 files together and I'll be right back. Alright, so let's try the same battle now with archers. We've got, our main army of 165 troops here, and that's going to be all the infantry we have, right? And I've switched out all the bows. I've been doing this kind of in the background so you guys don't have to wait 5 minutes while I do this. We give everybody long bows and a couple quivers if they can handle it. This guy actually has a crossbow. Where's Gweth? Gweth here with her 330 bow skill, right? She's much better suited to be an archer, although we do have some companions that are better skirmishers than archers. So it evens out, I think, roughly. So we'll upgrade all these troops because, again, these are going to be the only archers we have in this series, or at least this battle. And you're saying, well, why is that? Well, because we're going to disband our skirmisher army, right? We're trying to follow all the same steps as the first battle, only we're going to fight with an archer-heavy army. So here's the companion we'll go into battle with her 55 Battanian Fiendchamps and other various archers of skill. Most of them are high level, and this will make them even stronger, right? 300 medicine skill. This is one of my best army leaders as far as the strength of their troops because of that medicine perk. This is... What are you guys, following us? Raiding Fenon Etir. Okay, that's just some local village. That's not too disconcerting here, although she might get caught up in this battle and I may have to... No, it looks like we're okay. I was worried I might have to reload this and I don't know, send her further away. But she's going to allow us to play our game here against this massive Landian force. I think that's the same number, right? 2050. She's off to raid a village, but we're here for the real action. So obviously, it's a little different fight with a lot of bow and arrows, right? We're going to be bow, arrow, crossbow. We have quite a few sergeant crossbow. We will be fighting and skirmishing at range, and this is going to help, right? We, again, are uphill, so that means that we're going to be able to rain down damage on the enemy. The AI is not terrific with their use of archers, right? They tend to bundle them up a little bit too closely. They don't use a spread formation. They very rarely protect them, other than having some infantry kind of nearby in case you charge with cavalry, and so we're going to try to take advantage of that. So I'll try to tell you my plan here. The 4th Corps, I want a defensive crossbow division, primarily for absorbing arrows in the later stages, but also to square. I'm probably going to have 2 main archer divisions, and then the 6th division commanded by the main guy, Zuvan. He has a massive list of perks, and so it's very tempting just to leave... I don't know why it says I have horse archers. I don't have any horse archers. It's very tempting just to leave Zuvan in charge of a lot of troops, right? Because you get this giant perks list, right? All the troops benefit from this enormously powerful captain, his 300 plus bow skill, 300 throwing, etc. He's basically good with all troops. So It says increase damage to mounted troops, so I'm actually going to use the 5th Corps here to charge occasionally. If the enemy cav gets too deep into our midst, we will simply charge them with that 5th Corps, and a lot of those units, of course, will be Battanian Fiend Champs and other archers that can then turn themselves into pretty decent cav killers. Ironically, there's all these benefits that against cavalry, to kill cavalry. When cavalry are already weak in Bannerlord, what they need is a cavalry bonus where it's like ride down bitch ass archers, and you do like 50% extra charge damage to archers, which would also be realistic. Unfortunately, that banner does not exist. So for the time being, archers remain the preeminent force in Bannerlord. This is the strongest unit. It still represents a threat, right? Because they have hundreds of heavy cavalry, and heavy cavalry can fuck up archers if they're used correctly. Banner Knights spearing guys, they just jostle your components. One of the keys to avoiding that is separating your archers, right? So I've got 3 different divisions here. We'll have a line of cav in the front. Let's see, it'll be the 2nd cav over here. The 5th Corps with these archer killing motherfuckers can be right behind him. The 6th Corps are mixed of infantry and archers, and then way back we have more archers, right, to mow down cavalry that's dumb enough to get close to those guys. Those guys are going to do amazing damage, and I'm going to move my units around quite a bit. Of course, this is not a static position, but we are going to take advantage of this ridge. There's a little ridge in front of us that I think will allow us the tiniest bit of a peekaboo ridge. Now, there's not enough space to maneuver behind it, so I don't think we're going to be able to actually drag the crossbow all the way up here. Crossbow have enormous range, and the enemy AI has a very naughty, annoying habit of shooting its crossbow at the maximum possible range. And the effect of that, of course, is that they will sit at 300 units and waste all of our times. We'll let Leonidas say his thing. To Sparta, motherfuckers! So, I am going to be speeding up periods of this episode using the RTS mod, right? I just hit a little button and it goes fast. Obviously, I won't do that mid-combat. I'll just be doing that in the stages in between, because between that first battle and this battle, this is probably going to take 40 minutes. Oh shit, I probably shouldn't chase this far. I'm intermingled now with their crossbow. Fortunately, though, they're moving. And so I was able to get away with that, stomp a few guys. This is nice. They're not paying me any attention. Of course, the enemy's trying to move up units, and they're not really concerned about one horse archer. Unfortunately for them, on the one horse archer, they probably should be paying attention to. Oh, he's paying attention. He gave me a little parting shot there in my shoulder. Let's kill this noble. One more shot. Come on. Damn, I don't know how I missed that guy 5 in a row. My archer skills, especially when I go back and forth in this series here, I see you coming, this lord bitch. They tend to suffer, right? When you go back and forth between javelins and archery, I find that it does make both of the skills less effective. So this cavalry just died, right? It charged right into our trap. This is what we were hoping. It's like 200 cavalry, and they're not going to be able to move. They're going to be shot off their horses en masse. We have a cav line protecting our units, so I don't know if they scored a single kill there. This dumb bitch just got mowed down. Oh, shit. I'm going to get my hammer out. I'm getting my ass kicked. Fuck. God damn, that sucked. I couldn't get my hammer out for some reason. It wouldn't let me there. I mean, of course, when guys are smacking you in the face, it's probably hard to think about what you're doing. But there goes half my health. See if that impacts the battle later on. So the archers are raining death, and we're going to hold fire here. We don't want to waste 900 arrows, and it's another little thing. Some guys know about it, some don't. When the enemy's riding away from you, it does a lot less damage. You want your guys shooting arrows when they're riding towards you. It's a physics thing. It's like a baseball going towards a bat. If the ball is being pitched at 20 miles an hour as opposed to 100, it goes less far, right? You want the combined effect of the speed of the ball hitting the bat in the other direction, right? It's this reverberative physics effects, right? It's bouncing effectively off the bat. I'm gonna fire a few more shots in here on them. We're going to be doing, again, a bit of skirmishing here because the enemy has so many crossbow. I don't know. In fact, let's try to interrupt these guys. We're doing some shooting on them here. This is perilous, but if I can get in here and just sort of stir these guys up, these are guys that are not shooting while we're shooting them, right? And I only took one bolt in the foot. That's a pretty good exchange for us. And look at the death span, right? Our archers are raining downhill. Our archers have protection. Of course, a lot of the death spam is them massacring this cavalry. We've talked about it endlessly on the channel. Heavy cavalry, unfortunately, in vanilla Bannerlord is garbage. They're moving in another wing of heavy cavalry, volunteering to be annihilated, and we will comply with their desire to die. I'm getting stabbed quite a bit early on in this battle, but, you know, look at the troops around us. Vanguard, fucking Banner Knight. We're surrounded by elite troops here, elite cataphract, and they might be weak, but if you get stabbed over and over again by heavy cav, it'll still kill you. Even with, you know, some of the best armor in the game. All right, so I'm going to pull this division back. I am counter-charging occasionally with the 1st Division. We can square them here. What I want, of course, is the enemy cav bottled up on their square, being shot off their mounts. And apart from the fact that Zuvan has taken a beating, so far so good, right? We're going to get this little higher elevation here to fire down into their ranks. It's a little bit perilous to move these units, but I do have this 3rd Cav Corps, and I failed to mention it, I think. But she has a banner that increases or decreases ranged attack damage, right? So she's kind of the perfect unit, and who I'm speaking about is some unknown captain. I don't remember who it is. It might be Tessa. It's leading the 3rd Corps, and her banner prevents or reduces archery damage, right? So she's the perfect captain for a cavalry unit in this battle, where we're going to be leading with that 3rd Division, and they're going to be getting shot with thousands of arrows. So here, I'm just trying to get atop the ridge and fire down into their packed ranks. Of course, we're going to suffer losses here because the archers are shooting thousands, or their crossbow, more accurately, are shooting thousands of bolts up the hill at us. So it's not going to be an easy exchange, but we're definitely getting the majority of the death spam. Again, we're using that Battlesize mod here, so the enemy has a staggering amount of troops on the battlefield. And it really is a ranged skirmish in this battle. Oh shit, their archers are trying to refarve. Charge. Everybody charge. What you want here is you want your units aggressively shooting, pursuing, getting aggressive while they're moving. Their archers are not shooting at us, so we're going to seize that time and move in aggressively, right? 1st, 3rd, and 4th Corps on our left flank, 5th, 7th, 6th, and we'll lead with the 2nd on the other flank. Now their infantry's moving up. Of course, we don't want a full-on infantry battle. Not yet. Our archers still have arrows, bolts, so there's no reason to charge these guys, right? This is what we want. We want them reforming. While they're doing this, they're being shot to pieces. We can try to disrupt some of their shield walls by just flying in here, club a few of these fucking reforming infantry to death, and then come up with our next plan here. So we've gained sort of this elevational advantage here. We're over the edge of this ridge, so it'd be hard to retreat without heavy losses. We're going to stick to our offense here, right? We're going to continue to press forward. If this was a real enemy opponent or a real-life enemy opponent, you would be able to tell they're shaken, right? We're raining bolts down on them, even though they probably have a similar amount of archers as us. Ours are both better and better positioned, and the death spam has been evidenced of that. There's that 3rd Division, that Cav Division right there. I'm just moving them forward in shield wall. They're acting like linebackers to our running backs. We just carried one of their lords. And the enemy is sort of paralyzed into a gigantic block of infantry and crossbow down there. Now, it is gigantic, right? It must be 1,000, maybe 1,200 troops. I think that said 853 archers. I'll have to look at that again. Anyways, they're going to have like 1,000 troops here against us. So I am trying to bait the enemy here a little bit. If they're just going to stay way down the hill, one thing I can do is I can have them run to the edge of this hill and then come roaring over the top of it, get our archers into place quickly, and pound them. Remember, they attacked us in this battle. That's always an important consideration. So we'll see if this yields any fruit here. They really are being, like I said, that sort of frustratingly defensive. They've got triple or quadruple our troop numbers, and yet they're content to sit back there and plink us with crossbow bolts at 1,000 range. I might even put our units all the way to the back of the battlefield here, and then just fast forward this battle, right? I can just make the whole battle move faster. That way, if they're shooting bolts at us for like a real time of 3 minutes, it'll only waste a minute of your time. They are moving up extremely systematically. You know, every time we move back 10 feet, they move back 10 feet. And there's not much you can do about this. This is just part of Bannerlord. Unfortunately, the AI is programmed, hey, we can shoot. Even though these bolts are going to do virtually no damage, let's shoot. And so this is what you get. You get these little pauses. So I'm trying to use this time here, right? I'm trying to come up, what's my plan? How do you kill 1,200 archers and infantry? One thing I know we can't do is come directly down and just shoot at them, right? They're playing very defensively. If I come straight through here, they will be able to concentrate their fire and obliterate us. The other thing is they're going to try to reform, right? When we get close to them with infantry, even if it's archers who are attacking an infantry, they will definitely run, right? They will try to reform. So how are we going to deal with that? I think, and I'm just speeding this up here, trying to make them come up the hill at us. I think what we can do is flank them heavily where there's a little bit of a ridge protecting us, lead with heavy cav, stretch out 2 or 3 archer divisions, and envelop them. What the fuck are these guys doing? You guys volunteering to die? I guess because we're not shooting, they just come up like it's fucking Halloween and they get some free shots off. Well, all of you get to die. Stupid bitches. Yeah, it is. It's 1,000. It's 853 archers. I mean, that is insane. And they're content on, even though the outnumber is 4 to 1, they're content on just sitting back at far range. The Jarl is getting frustrated here. You fuck AI. We're going to teach you a good lesson here. So let's enact that tactic I was just talking about. We're going to drive in on them with the right flank, our left flank, 1st, 3rd, and 4th. Purely as defense. It's going to look like offense because I'm going to shove these troops into the enemy lines, but they will be in shield wall. They don't represent a major threat. On this flank, underneath the ridge where the enemy can't see us very well, we will apply our main bit of pressure. So that'll be the 2nd Cav leading the 5th, 6th, and 7th divisions. That's a skirmisher division with infantry. That's 2 archer divisions, and of course there's Battanian Fianchamps in there. So I have no hesitation about charging with those units. And hopefully we can envelop the enemy. I might even be able to get one of these archer corps behind the enemy where they can't retreat at all, where they're retreating into withering archer fire. In fact, that makes the most sense. If I can get the 7th, they're the ones with faster movement. If I can get them positioned in it, kill this cavalry. They're sending their cav up. Very bad decision. We're happy to kill as many of these guys as you'll let us. But if I can get that 7th Corps behind them, it will be an absolutely devastating situation for the enemy, because if they try to reform, and they probably will, for reinforcements or just because archers don't like being charged by infantry, they will charge, or they will fall back right into the waiting arrows of our 7th Corps. I'm just manifesting this in my mind, right? This is one of those things that you as a battlefield commander, the more you get experienced, you'll come up with plans. This may not work. In fact, I don't think we can win this battle, but it doesn't mean we're not going to try, right? This is just an insanely strong and huge force, and we have 400 troops, not even 400 troops. And on top of that, it's the Battlesize mod, right? So the enemy has just an unbelievable amount of troops on the battlefield at the same time. It's 852 crossbow, and they're mostly sharpshooters and hardened crossbow. All right, most of their cav just melted here, and that's vital. We're going to continue killing these guys because that'll give us what I consider battlefield mobility superiority, right? This gives us the ability to move around with our cav, and the enemy won't have much of a counter to it. Now it's 972 archers. I mean, this is insane. I guess that's reinforcements arriving, right? Jesus. So they have 300 and something infantry and 972 archers, and we have like 350 men. But look at the power bar. So far, we've taken a bite out of their formations, and they've barely dented us. We've got those high medicine skill companions. A lot of them are probably injured at this stage, right? They've got 3 bolts sticking out of their knee and an arrow sticking out of their arm. But so far, so good. Now, I'm just moving these units into position. Over here, it's the 1st, 3rd, and 4th, and they have one job. Try to survive the onslaught, right? I'm going to send them in offensively as much as they can be sent in offensively with 40 guys. And then when that happens, right after we do that, we're going to perform our enveloping maneuver on this main force. The 5th, I will probably stretch out oblong to the enemy. In other words, that's probably not the right word. Basically perpendicular to their main formation. The 2nd will be basically just like these cav. They will be strictly a wall defense absorbing bolts. The 6th I will charge and probably drag with me because that's a mix of skirmishers and infantry. And this 7th, I think I'm going to try to drag these guys way around behind the enemy. There's a bit of a ridge there. You see it right in front of us there. I think I can get those guys triangulated around that ridge in a manner that all of a sudden they will appear behind the enemy. And in real life, of course, that would be a devastatingly psychological blow to all of a sudden have the enemy behind you when you have this many forces. And we're going to try to envelop this force, but this is a tiny bit like you and your 3 best friends going to the zoo and trying to envelop 25 lions in the lion cage. You can do it, you can surround them, but you may have unpleasant results. Oh shit, somehow the 1st, 4th, and 3rd, I must have had them follow me. Fuck, thank God there's a ridge here, otherwise these guys would have been executed. Alright, let's see if I can fix this. So I want the 1st, 3rd, and 4th. God, they're really diminished. But they're alive still, right? So that's going to represent at least a tiny threat to the enemy. The enemy now has turned their whole formation kind of directly at where I'm at right now. And that's not good for us, right? That means we'll be charging infantry instead of archers. They just got more archer reinforcements. A whole bunch of scrubbier, and these are not total scrubs, but these are tier 3 Valandian crossbow. I mean, this force is massive. Look at that fucking thing. And we're going to try to surround that and charge it. This definitely reminds me of the 300 series. God damn it. Let's see if I get shot off my horse here. Go, go, go. I think that was a very lucky stroke there to not get killed. 846 archers and 300 infantry. So this is almost 1,200 men, and we're going to try to envelop it here with our 300 or so. It really does remind me of the 300 series. This is, of course, not one of the episodes of the 300 series, but it's kind of similar, right? We had, what, 380 troops at the beginning of this battle. All right, here, let's get this 7th way down here. They're tucked underneath the ridge there, and I think they'll have at least some cover, and once they come around that ridge, they'll be able to pound the enemy with arrows. I see they still have ammo, so let's do this shit. The 1st, 3rd, and 4th, I'm basically going to tell to charge and shield wall, and it's going to be, again, that's your best friend charging 9 lions with a wooden shield. Good luck. The 2nd Corps is there absorbing arrows. Of course, those guys are getting shot off their mounts. This is just an insane amount of arrows being shot at these guys. The crossbow division is out of ammo, so they're purely just guys holding up their shield, trying not to get killed, boring in there. Meanwhile, over here again, we're going to charge the 6th, and that 7th should be really close to where I want it to be. And, of course, I'll be joining my units on foot. On horse, I'm too big of a target. I have fucking a sliver of life left. Fortunately, we have the RTS mod if he drops. We will continue this charge. Here we go. 6th following me. In we go. Push the cav through their formation. The 7th are in position. Let's go, boys. The 7th is raining arrows. Look at that. It's beautiful. Cav leading the way. The 6th Corps is right behind me. The 5th Corps is charging on the other side. The 1st, 3rd, and 4th are charging. Man, they just got wasted. That was probably the 1st, 3rd, and 4th. Still, we're knee-deep in their archers now. Let's kill these bitches. They're retreating right into those archers. I can see arrows coming from behind me. That's our 7th Corps just skewering these guys. The 6th is here with me. Charge, boys. Holy shit, this is a lot of troops. Let's see if we can't kill a few lions before we're killed here. Of course, it's Battanian Fiend, Battanian Fiend. Just truck both of these guys. Get up! Zvon finally croaks. Now I want... Okay, this guy will work. Everybody charge. There's no tactics here. We're all around the enemy. Charge and fight to the death. Can we win? I don't think we can win, but we're going to fucking fight this out. I'm boring in here as deep as I can get. This guy's got pretty good two-handed skill. He's cutting guys down left and right. But I just looked up at the power bar and we are toast. But we gave this quite a run, and that was a pretty fucking amazing result considering what we were up against. Right, 1,200 units on the field, 800 and something sharpshooters and whatnot. Look at all these elite troops too. It's not like we got fucking ganked by a bunch of peasants here at the end. This is still elite troops. What's this motherfucker doing, Varag? You having a philosophic moment, dude? You're gonna hide out in the bushes here while the rest of the fight's going on? Oh man, this fucking guy. I needed his axe in here too. This guy's savage. All right, well, fuck it. We'll fight the rest of this out here. And ultimately, of course, we failed with both of our attempts here. But before we even look at the final stats here, and Varag will add another 3 or 4 killed to the resume, I can already tell you the archers did better, right? You guys probably can tell just watching. But against a massive archer force here, a massive heavy cavalry archer force, the skirmishers did worse. Round 6 is going to go to the archers here, right? Which makes it a dead heat. I think. Now I got to check my records. Something tells me actually the archers might have been up 3-2. I'll have to sort of go back and look. If that's the case, we will probably have one more battle. Varag finally eats shit. I think we'll try horse archers. But ultimately here, the archers, they did pretty fucking well, right? 138 troops, is that all they had left? Oh no, they had more than that. So still, 432 troops is all they had left. We killed over 1,600 with our 400 guys. Obviously, this is a tremendously positive result for these archers here. It shows, again, I've been using the word overpowered. You can use whatever word you want. We will say it shows how powerful archers are. I will let you judge whether or not they're overpowered. This is pretty incredible, though. With the Battlesize mod, to be able to almost defeat this force of 2,000 elite Valandians. I mean, again, look at their units. Batanian Fiend Champ. I mean, this was a stacked army, and we almost whipped it into the corner here. Fiend Champs, of course, did well. This was great. That was a lot of fun. That was thrilling. Of course, it's always thrilling to face incredibly difficult battles. For a few brief moments there, it felt like maybe we could win. When the 7th Corps was down there absolutely raking everything with fire from the bottom of the formation, and the rest of our troops were boring in. But ultimately, like when you charge 25 tigers in their cage with your 4 best friends, you might take down like a tiger or 2, I don't know, swinging bats or something like that, but ultimately you're going to end up as tiger food. And that's what happened here. All right, well, let me know what you think of this series, friends. Of course, you want to subscribe if you want to see more. I appreciate you guys, and I think we'll wrap this up, man. Thanks again for watching, fellas. I will see you guys next time.